What's going on? I'm at it with another video. So today I'm going to be upgrading the door speakers on all 4 doors and installing some sound deadening material. As you can just see, this is what comes installed factory. It's pretty cheap, pretty basic, and so you can see how you could add some improvements by adding a aftermarket speaker to it, right? So this is just a Kicker CS series, and I'll post the link in the description for reference. But this is supposed to sound better and handle more wattage and just overall sound clean. So it's going to be a night day difference, and let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so before we start, I want to go over the items I purchased and provide those links in the description. So first, we're going to start off with, of course, you're going to need a universal bracket. Make sure it's specific to your car. So this is a 6x9. For the rear doors, those are 6.5 inch diameter. You'll then want to have some speakers to install. So for the ones I went with, they're 6x9s for the front door, and then on the rear door, they're 6.5. Same model, Kicker, but CS series. And then finally, you're gonna want to buy this adapter, which pretty much converts. It's a plug and play adapter. You plug it into the factory Toyota harness, and then you plug this into the Kicker speaker, and then that just makes it easy for you. And finally, we're going to be installing sound deadening material on the doors. So go based on whatever your preference is. This is the Kill Mat 50 mil. So first thing you got to do is get to the speaker itself, right? So you got to remove all of this plastic trimming. It's pretty simple. So what you got to do is take this plastic trimming off, pop a tab that's right here. You could just put a flathead in there. You got to remove the switching panel. You pop that off. You then remove this cover, which reveals a screw behind that, and then there's a screw behind this little mat in there. And once you remove all that, you start prying at the door, removing all the different clips attached. And at that point, you lift it up and you pull it out, and you'll notice that the door handle will be attached. And so all you have to do is get behind there, wiggle a little bit, and then take it out. So let's jump into it. So now that we have the plastic trimming off, let's talk about what you're going to see, right? So this is what essentially is going to be behind your plastic panel. A couple of Toyota's cheap sound deadening material. I think some plastic to kind of hold any dust going into the door itself, and of course your speaker. So what we're going to do first is unplug the speaker itself. There's a little tab on it. Hold it and pull up. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is remove the speaker. So you could go with either a 10 mil socket or a Phillips head screwdriver. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove this. just like that, it comes out. All right, so the next thing you want to do is release this and then take off this plastic so we could get behind the door and install the deadening material. Simple as that. And then for this, you actually pull up, so you don't, make sure don't break this, but you just pull this up like that. Comes right off. And so now we're gonna start tearing away at this plastic. So I really didn't find an easy way to take this off, but you know, just try not to rip the plastic itself. Just go slow with it. Then once you get to the cables and the door latch, you know, you're gonna have to make this hole, this slit bigger so that you can slide this out. You just push that out and then continue pulling away. It's really stringy things. So, okay, so we're gonna continue pulling. Continue pulling. Go ahead and pull the cables out on the other side. And I forgot to highlight one thing. I forgot to actually remove two bolts right here. So we gotta do that right quick. It's simple, just use a Phillips screwdriver. Okay, and just like that, you take it off. And keep on pulling down. Okay, so now that you have that aside, we're gonna set this aside. All right, so next thing is, let's go ahead and remove this, you know, so you can get behind the door. Same thing for here. So there's two plastic ribbons here. Just grab one of your hefty removal tools, pry it out, and go straight out with it, just like that, so you don't break anything. Same for the other one. Go straight out like that, straight out, and then at that point it is free. Just pull it out, and now you can get behind the door. All right, so as you can see, we're now able to see the inside of the door panel, and what we want to do now is prep it for the sound deadener material. So as you can see, if you zoom in, it is pretty dirty in there, and it's expected, right, depending on how much off-roading you do, but a lot of dust, you know, gets in here, a lot of dirt gets in there as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a rag and some alcohol and just wipe it, clean it, prep it, let it dry, and then continue with the sound deadener installer. So we installed the sound deadener, as you can see here. The next thing we have to do is install the speaker. So as you can see here, I have the speaker already installed in the bracket that Crutchfield sent me. Next, you want to go ahead and plug in this plug and play adapter. So this is going to be as simple as just lining up the positive to the positive terminal and then the negative to the negative terminal, and then just wiggle it in there. If it doesn't go in, wiggle it in there, just like that. I'm a little harder on this side, and just like that. All right, so once you got that, go ahead and pretty much do everything we did in the beginning, but in reverse order. So we're going to just like that. You do that. Next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and plug this in. And we're gonna go ahead and start putting everything back together. So this is the easy part. Putting everything back together as you got it off.
6 months later.
Okay, so it's day 2 of the install. Finally got the brackets in for the back door, so that I can continue with the process. And so come in and I'll show you what you got to do. The process is a little different with the rear doors, but it's not too complicated. It's really easy. So, you know, we're gonna start off with removing this trim, popping this pin out, you know, remove the cover behind the door handle, and then pop off the switch panel. And then from there, you just start prying with your, you know, trim remover tools all around. And then eventually, that's where you come, pull off the door, lift it, and then you disconnect the door handle from the trimming itself. And then from there, that gives us access to the speakers. So I'll give you a time lapse of this. So I'm gonna pause the time lapse and show you guys what you got to do for this switch. So be careful with the wiring going to the switch. But once you pop this off, you know, be careful with the cables, right? And so you'll see the cables right there. Now notice that there's going to be a tab right there. And so what you want to do is you want to push that tab and pull it out gently, just to make sure that you don't break anything. So that is what I'm going to attempt to do. Shouldn't be too hard. I mean, as long as you're holding the tab correctly, it should come off just like that. But let's go ahead and continue. Alright, so for the rear panel, the door latch is installed the same way as the front door. So just as a reminder, you know, go in here with your hand and wiggle it out. It should come right off. It's probably gonna be hard to get that angle, but just like that, it comes off. And then we can set this door panel aside. So now that we have the door panel off, what we got to do next is, of course, take out the speaker, take off this plastic, and then we're gonna soundproof the door with kill mat. So want to give you what the aftermarket product's going to look like. So these are the Kicker CS series, as I mentioned before, but you can see just a difference. Like, this is high quality, this is cheap, you know, really cheap. I don't know why Toyota does this, but we'll continue. First thing we need to do to get, you know, to the inside of the door is, you know, remove these 3 bolts right here. Just get a Phillips head screwdriver. Just like that. All right, so now that we have that off, next thing we want to do is also unpin this connector. So this is just so that we could slip it out of this plastic wrap. There's a tab on it, so just hold that in and then pull it straight out. Just like that. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and start tearing at this. We're gonna have to disconnect the door speaker. Okay, so we're gonna go save this. All right, so now that we got that off, let's go ahead and continue working our way with removing the plastic. So there's actually one pin here. Just pop that off with your tool. And then same thing, we're gonna go ahead and remove the door speaker. So what you'll need is a 10mm socket. Now that we took that off, just come out with it and you'll see that this is the stock speaker. really almost non-existent magnet that you see in there, right? Compared to like aftermarket, you can see that's a big difference. The guy actually tells you not to worry about you. Yeah, been there, done that. Got played like that one time. Okay, all right, so what we're gonna do next is clean the inside of the door so that we can install the kill mount properly. So you can see there's a lot of like dirt and dust in there. And so what I'm gonna do is just grab a microfiber towel and some alcohol, wipe it down, let it dry, and I'll continue with the kill mat install. Okay, so just got done installing the kill mat, as you can see here. So now the next step is to put everything back together. So we're going to start off with putting the speaker, and then putting all these black panels back, the plastic wrap, and then the trim. So let's get to it. Just finished installing the rear door speakers. Really happy with how it sounds already. But yeah, the install is complete. We did front doors and rear doors, kicker, CS speakers, sounding great. If you have any questions or comments on anything I did, just let me know, and keep posted for the next video. Thanks for watching.